chairs. Uh,
Well, like, yeah.
one of the big issues of that people either complain about or like about anime is the amount of fan service that comes into anime and manga. And there are a lot of people who say that anime and manga fan service is pretty much kind of ruining it after a while because a lot of them have too much of it. And there are some who actually say there's a lot more of the excessive fan service in there now than there was before. And of course, there are some people who just say, well, that's the only thing they watch it for is the fan service or whatnot. So, what I'm going to say is we'll say that side for people who say there's too much fan service right now in anime, or there are a lot of animes that have too much fan service or don't want to go in there as much. People who are all for fan service over here, people who don't really care either way here. And people who are out of it there. Yeah. Okay, so are you in the crowd that doesn't really like a lot of fan service to be crying out the anime?
Yep. I mean, it's all perspective. I'm not gonna say that they should or shouldn't put it in. It's all, you know, about what you want to see in a movie or in an anime or anything like that. But like, at the end of the day, the reason it irritates me is mostly just from a personal perspective. It just gets in the way of the story. I mean, I'm not trying to be that guy, but it's like, when I go, like, if you go into, you know, a certain show, you know, looking for just a good story and a good narrative, it detracts from it when it feels like they're trying to throw softcore porn in that direction.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like, that's what bothers me. It's like, okay, I mean, it's not why I'm here, and I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling the vibe. Why throw it in there? Why are you trying to, you know, jam this down my throat? And I mean, I just don't see it. I mean, to me, it feels like they're trying to more, you know, take advantage of the average demographic they're shooting for, rather than just put a good story out there and hope that it appeals to whatever demographic.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. So, do you think that?
I'm sorry. Oh no, just down.
What about?
Guy.
What about even when it's? Are there any times when fan service can be appropriate? Like if it's just for the sake of a joke, or if it's just for, you know, a little bit, just to add a little extra.
To some degree, yeah. I mean, I'm not a complete prude. I'm not going to sit there and be like, no, this doesn't need to be in there. It just to me detracts, and it's the same. It kind of goes in the same lines of like film with plausible deniability or plausible, you know. As a viewer, I look at it as, you know, not say would this really happen, but like would, you know, does this catch my interest? Does it detract from the story? Does it pull me in or out? I mean, it's all about whether or not they jumped the shark and added something that just doesn't need to be there.
Oh, okay. And we'll go with the for fan service.
For fan service, that's kind of a weird way to put it. I just
well,
don't, yeah, I don't find anything
something
wrong
else.
with it in the same way to where I don't go into a movie store and pick up Saw and watch it and say, this is not what I wanted to watch. It's a horror movie. It's a genre. Like when you get into it, you tend to expecting to know what you're getting into, and if it's not what you want, you move on. Like if you hate romance anime and you turn on a romance anime, you watch something else. You don't crucify it.
Well, I never said I was going to crucify it. I think that the basis of the argument is more that I just don't want to see it.
Yeah,
and
you
then,
watch
like,
something else.
Yeah, it's well,
What's
something
going on?
else. The thing is, a lot of people say something else is just as bad too, because a lot of people are saying that there's way too many animes out there that have fan service, and the ones that don't have excessive fan service are few and far between now.
Well, they're just trying to pretty much they're trying to get what people would like and appeal to that audience.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as that audience exists, it's going to keep happening. But if that's what somebody doesn't like, you don't watch it. It's the same thing. If they make a lot of something else, just don't watch it.
Okay.
It's, yeah.
Well, let's go on to this man in the middle.
Honestly, I could care either way because the animes I watch are normally older, like Dragon Ball Z, I'm not sure the fighting ones. And then the newer ones, the ones I really got into for newer would be more of harem and women, boobs, and everything else involved in that. And so, yeah. You know, the type ones where they're fighting and all of a sudden, bam, punch to the chest and clothes are just ripped off. It's like, all right.
You know, I could ruin Dragon Ball Z for you, but I won't do that. I'm not that sort of guy.
Funny.
Pat test?
No, I'm just saying I know how to ruin it for him by telling the guy who animated Dragon Ball Z is actually homosexual, which is fine. But then you think about what you're watching. A bunch of shirtless men and men, you know, flexing in the screen.
Woo!
And that's officially ruined Dragon Ball Z for you. There you go.
Well, not for everybody, it's just for him.
Well, no, I say for him because he's homophobic, so you're a problem now.
Okay.
Yeah,
One
one,
point,
2,
Austin.
3, 4 of us.
Woohoo! Okay. So that took an interesting turn.
I did. But
Okay.
I could carry either way.
Well, one thing to keep in mind also is that a lot of the times, I mean, like for example, the harem anime. One of the early ones I liked were the Tenchi OVAs and the Tenchi TV series. Because for one, it did actually have quite a bit of interesting drama to it, and you kind of get the idea of why everything happened there and why everything would happen there. But then it seems like they sort of grabbed a hold of it and decided to go ahead and make a rubber stamp out of it and put here, 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 here. Let's go ahead and try see if we could rubber stamp a copy of this and put something unique of our own on it and keep going and basically crank them out at high speed or whatnot. So that can
Why
kind
do
of
you mean, like in the point, like this whole series was pointless?
like, you know, you find they
Because
made
I've watched the Girl Bravo series on Netflix, and that whole series was pointless.
Yeah.
All it was women, guy who was allergic to women, more women.
I watched that too. Yeah.
That's a blue conflict in the last episode.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, the only conflict was at the last episode.
Basically, you can see where they basically took the Tenchi rubber stamp and said, put here, let's see what we can do with this. And put on Handmaid May, on He Is My Master, let's say, on to a more adult extent, but totally CPU, things like that. So it's kind of like they sort of don't really work from the ground up anymore, but makes so they just rubber stamp something. And for example, High School of Dead was one thing I've heard brought up. It's a show about zombies. You go in there expecting to see zombies, but there are a lot of panty shots in it instead, where at inappropriate times. And you're figuring, okay, are they trying to actually scare me or arouse me? And then you're pretty much saying confused messages from the upper and lower brain, so on and so forth. Or like Strike Witch, for example. I remember at this convention last year, I walked in while they were playing Strike Witches and couldn't really exactly figure it out because when I walked in, there was a big dramatic scene going on, combined with the fact that you have everyone in panties. So it's kind of hard to differentiate. It's like you're watching one movie up here that's very dramatic, and another movie down